If you're a SnowRunner player, you already know the truth. This isn't just a game, it's a way of life. Hours turn into days as you fight through mud, snow and rivers, all for that one perfect delivery. And when you finally make it, you're exhausted, but you want more. But here's the thing, there are other games out there, games with the same slow, technical, rewarding gameplay that made you fall in love with the SnowRunner in the first place. Some focus on extreme realism, some crank up the chaos, and some, well, they're just plain weird. Today we're counting down 15 games SnowRunner players shouldn't miss. If you've been looking for your next obsession, your search ends here. This isn't a ranking, every game here offers something unique. From hardcore off-road simulators to quirky delivery nightmares, these will scratch that SnowRunner itch in a different way. Let's start with one that will feel instantly familiar. If you love SnowRunner's cold frozen maps, IceBound is your next stop. So basically in IceBound you're a wilderness fighter, but your mission totally goes sideways. You're stuck out in the middle of a freezing snowy wasteland and the only thing you've got is your snowcat vehicle. You're driving around trying to survive, exploring the icy terrain, and to make it worse, there's this hostile military group constantly chasing you. It's part survival, part driving, and a whole lot of don't freeze to death while they're after you. The game is all about surviving the extreme cold, frozen lakes that crack beneath your tires, snowbanks that hide treacherous drops, and icy inclines that send you sliding backwards. What makes IceBound stand out is the attention to the temperature. The ice behaves differently depending on the time of day and your vehicle's weight. It's not just about driving, it's about planning every move like your truck's life depends on it. Because it does. The game has no release date, so add it to your wishlist to stay up to date. If you love SnowRunner's delivery missions, Delivery Driver Service takes that concept and puts it front and center. Delivery Driver Service throws you into a post-hurricane world where the roads, infrastructure, and the supply chains are a total mess. You're the go-to delivery specialist and your job is to get the supplies and equipment where they need it the most, no matter how bad the conditions get. It's not just simple driving either. You'll be navigating washed out roads, deep mud, fallen trees, and other nasty obstacles. Picking the right vehicle for each job is key. Some are better in snow, others crush muddy trails, and upgrades will make them even more capable. The weather and seasons are constantly changing in real time, so one day you're cruising through sunny hills, and the next you're crawling through a snowstorm or battling icy roads. As you level up, your driver gains skills and confidence, helping you handle tougher routes and even survive unexpected breakdowns. You also have a home base you can upgrade, better garage space, extra storage, even comforts like fridge or better bed, making your delivery life a little bit easier. It's all about smart driving, problem solving, and pushing through the toughest routes to keep your recovery effort moving. This game is set to release in Q3 2025, so basically any moment now, and the developer is announcing a demo version very soon. Truckful is SnowRunner, but on speed and cute. Truckful is like a chill countryside delivery adventure with a mysterious twist. You're running errands for the locals, hauling all sorts of odd cargo in your trusty old pickup. Everything from slippery fish that need to arrive fresh to delicate grandma vases that will shatter if you're too rough. The roads aren't just smooth highways either. You'll be bouncing through the windy back roads, muddy marshes, and dusty trails. As you complete deliveries, you can upgrade your truck to handle heavier loads, go faster, and survive tougher terrain. The locals will reward you with parts, scrap, and tips to make your life easier. But this countryside isn't all sunshine and friendly faces. There's a creepy old forest on the edge of the town, wrapped in myths and legends. Strange paths, misty wetlands, and eerie quicksand hides secrets from the past. The more you explore, the more you realize something is unsettling here, and it's part delivery job, part exploration, and part unraveling a local mystery, all while trying to not wreck your cargo. Truckful has no release date, so keep your eyes peeled for more info on your Steam page. The name says it all. Deliver at all costs. Deliver at all costs is like a wild mix of 1950s charm, absolute chaos, and totally ridiculous deliveries. You play as Winston Green, a grumpy, down-on-his-luck courier with a shady past trying to make ends meet in a 1959, a time of rock and roll, fancy dresses, and the constant fear of nuclear doom. Your job? Well, deliver bizarre, dangerous, and often absurd cargo no matter what it takes. One mission might have you hauling a giant flailing fish. Another could have you trying to carefully get rid of the ticking bomb before it blows. And you're not exactly subtle about it. You'll be smashing through destructible streets in all sorts of vehicles, leaving chaos in your wake. The world is semi-open, full of colorful locations, unpredictable citizens, and plenty of opportunities for mayhem. Between all the destruction, there's a story split into 3 acts about Winston's slow descent into madness, packed with strange characters and plenty of mystery. All of this is wrapped in that classic 1950s vibe, retro cars, era-specific ads, and a soundtrack that will make you feel like you're right there in a golden age, if the golden age was completely insane, of course. This game is available now. SnowRunner's winch system is great for slow and careful climbing, but pure rock crawling takes it to another level. Pure rock crawling is basically the ultimate take it slow and climb over crazy terrain off-road kind of game. It's a physics-based rock crawling simulator made by just one developer, and it's all about precision driving and realistic vehicle handling. You're behind the wheel of the tough off-road trucks with super detailed suspension and soft body tire physics that actually flex and deform as you crawl over the rocks, logs, steep trails. You can tweak your suspension setup, throw on lift kits, pick different tire types, and really dial in your ride for the terrain. On top of that, you can customize the look of your truck, swap bumpers, add roof gear, change fenders, throw on vinyl wraps, so it feels like your own rig. You can just free roam and explore beautiful maps, or take on marked trial challenges and test your crawling skills. The whole point is to give you a super realistic off-road playground where the challenge comes from the terrain itself, not the timers or the racing. It's chill, it's technical, and it's insanely satisfying when you finally conquer that one boulder that's been giving you trouble. This game is also available now on Steam. Yes, it's actually called Garbage Country. Garbage Country is like a weird, beautiful mix of road trip, exploration, and survival. You're cruising across the post-industrial wasteland in your trusty truck, checking out eerie abandoned landmarks and running into quirky strangers along the way. The driving's got a fun, slide bouncy physics feel, and as you upgrade your ride, you can push deeper into the wastes and unlock more of the map. But it's not just sightseeing, there are hostile bots roaming around, and for some reason they've decided you're the enemy. When they attack, the game switches into tense tower defense battles where you build turrets and defend yourself using whatever resources you scavenged. Between the fights, there are plenty of quiet, atmospheric moments, dust blowing across the empty highways, decaying ruins, and stretches of haunting silence that makes you want to stop and just take it all in. It's part a road trip sim, part tower defense, part exploration game, all wrapped up in this moody, handcrafted world. The more you drive, the more you uncover about what's been left behind and maybe why the bots have turned on humanity. This beautiful game is set to release in Q2 2026, so we have a bit of a wait till this one is released. Before SnowRunner existed, Offroad Drive was the king of realistic terrain driving. Offroad Drive is basically the ultimate real deal off-road simulator. Instead of arcade-style mud running, this game throws you into proper extreme off-road racing events like Russian Trophy or Thailand Trophy, and a bunch of other brutal trial challenges. You'll be tackling swamps, deep snow, rocky climbs, and soft sand that will swallow your tires if you're not careful. The vehicle's roster is also stacked, everything from tuned SUVs and trucks to purpose-built off-road prototypes. You can kit them out with all real off-road gear. Winches, diff locks, low gearboxes, sand tracks, even adjustable tire pressures. The real magic is in how the terrain reacts. Mud isn't just a texture, it sucks you in, forms, ruts, and sticks to your tires, making you slip and struggle for grip. Rocks can chip away at your vehicle, sand can bog you down, and every surface reacts differently based on your speed, weight, and tire setup. It's less about blasting through the course and more about reading the terrain, planning your moves, and wrestling your way through nature's worst. If you want something that feels like actual off-roading, this is it. The game is an older title, but it's still available on Steam. OHV is all about exploration. So this title is a little bit different, a little bit like a title I covered previously called Slaverian Road Trucker. So OHV is basically the most random but oddly addictive off-road life sim you can imagine. You're in 90s Poland, cracked roads, Eurodance on the radio, and somehow you end up juggling a dozen of weird hobbies. It's like Polish My Summer Car. You start by buying some beat up car, sanding off the rust, repainting it, and tuning it up. Join the local auto club, build your own buggy from welded pipes and race it. On the side, you're delivering coal in a clunky truck, pumping iron in your basement gym for weightlifting contest, and snacking on sausages. And because it's OHV, you can also make pickles, rob allotment gardens, cut catalytic converters for quick cash, and shop for retro clothes at the street market. It's part off-road sim, part Polish small-town life simulator, part absolute chaos, and that's what makes it so good. The game is available on Steam right now. Don't let the colorful name fool you. Hail to the Rainbow is brutally hard. The game feels like a gritty, post-apocalyptic cyberpunk version of Pacific Drive, but darker, more grounded, and with a Russian twist. You play as Ignat, a lone survivor, making his way through dangerous, abandoned landscapes years after a massive military disaster. Life's been bleak but manageable until a strange email throws you into the whole new journey. Like Pacific Drive, driving plays a huge role here. You're not just walking around, you'll be navigating rough, unpredictable roads in a beat-up vehicles, and deformable terrain keeps you on your toes. Mud, rubble, and damaged roads can physically shift under your wheels, so getting stuck or sliding off a slope is a real threat. Every trip feels risky, like the world itself is trying to stop you. Between the drives, you'll explore on foot, scavenging supplies, reading old digital records, solving technical puzzles, and fending off hostile encounters. The whole thing mixes atmospheric story moments with bursts of intense action. It's basically Pacific Drive's mix of exploration, driving, and environmental danger, but instead of Pacific Northwest weird anomalies, you get a cyberpunk wasteland drenched in neon and shadows. The game has no release date yet, so add it to your wishlist to keep up to date. Evo 4x4 is an older title, an off-road simulator that still feels great even today. Think of it as a Gran Turismo of the off-road world, except instead of pristine asphalt, you're flying through mud, sand, rocky trails in a massive 4x4 beast. The heart of this game is a career mode. You start with a modest truck, race to earn money, and slowly upgrade until you can afford the heavy hitters like the Chevy Trailblazer race SUV or Mitsubishi Pajero Rally, or maybe even Toyota Tundra's race truck. These purpose-built race machines are insanely fast, but they'll set you back hundreds of thousands in in-game currency. Being an older title, it doesn't have a modern-day visuals, but the gameplay still delivers. It's not about the perfect cornering, it's about wrestling your truck through the brutal terrain at speed, hoping you can make it across the finish line without flipping. If you ever wished SnowRunner Scouts had a competitive racing mode, Evo 4x4 is basically that, just from a different era. As I mentioned before, the game is an old title, so you'll have to do a bit of digging around to find it. The sequel, Evo 4x4 2, improves on everything: better physics, bigger maps, and more variety in vehicles. This title takes everything from the first game and cranks it up. More trucks, more tracks, more customization, and way more variety in what you can actually do. The racing still has that rough terrain focused style, with courses set in extreme environments like deserts, canyons, snowy mountains, and other rugged locations. But now you can really dig into customization, swapping engines, suspension, wheels, tires, plus adding aftermarket parts to build your dream off-road beast. It's not just straight racing either. Evo 4x4 2 adds missions in big open areas where you might be hunting down some lost cargo, searching for objects, or completing odd jobs tied to a specific location. It feels a bit like mixing off-road racing with scavenger hunt adventure. You also get options for time of day and weather, though sadly the true night driving mode from the first game didn't make it back. It's definitely an older title as well, but if you loved the first Evo 4x4, this one is bigger, more ambitious upgrade. A true classic, Screamer 4x4 is from the early 2000s, but still plays incredibly well. The game is an old school off-road racer that's way more about skill and control than just mashing the gas. You're not stuck on boring asphalt circus, instead you're out in the wild, tackling steep slopes, sudden drops and nasty natural obstacles while racing against the clock. The physics were groundbreaking for its time, with realistic four-wheel drive handling that actually makes you feel every bump, rock and rut. It's one of those games where picking the right line matters way more than speed. Go too fast and you'll end up upside down before you know it. There are tons of ways to play. Free drive is just if you want to explore. Championship mode is for the competitive grind. Trophy and Pathfinder for tricky technical challenges. And it even has LAN multiplayer to dust your friends. You get 10 officially licensed 4x4 vehicles and 60 courses spread across 6 terrain types, each with changing weather and times of day. Mud, snow, mountains, it's all there and it all feels different to drive on. It's basically the perfect mix of old school racing challenge and proper off-road realism. If SnowRunner had a retro competitive cousin, this would be it. Like the previous two titles, you will have to refer to websites like GOG to purchase this one, but it's totally worth it. So if SnowRunner Scouts had a slightly more arcadey cousin, this would be Offroad Horizons. Offroad Horizons is basically pure rock rolling heaven. Instead of high-speed racing, it's all about finding the perfect lineup, a gnarly trail, and keeping your truck in one piece while you do it. It's built around real off-road concepts, so every surface, whether it's loose gravel, deep mud, or jagged rocks, changes how your vehicle handles. The physics are legit. You can see your suspension flex and your tires bite into the terrain as you inch your way over the boulders or creep up the steep incline. Every vehicle feels different with its own weight, power and quirks, so picking the right one for the trail actually matters. The trails themselves are beautiful and varied: mountain peaks, desert ravines, volcanic cliffs, beaches, forests, all with their own unique challenges. You can push for adrenaline and beat the trail, or slow down in discovery mode, exploring open world maps for hidden paths, treasures, unlockable trucks and drivers. It's the kind of game where you can get totally lost in the challenge of one climb or spend hours just exploring it. If you loved SnowRunner's slower, more technical moments, especially with the scout vehicles, Offroad Horizons feels like a full game built around that. This game released 3 years ago, so naturally it's available on Steam. Second to last game, Offroad Mania. This one's more of a physics-based obstacle course game than a pure simulator, but it's still a blast. Offroad Mania is like a mix between a technical off-road sim and a fun obstacle course challenge. Perfect if you love messing around with 4x4 physics. It's got a surprisingly realistic driving model, so your suspension reacts, your tires bite, and you really have to think about the throttle control. But the game packages it in these bite-sized creative levels. The main classic mode has 240 trials where you start at point A, finish at point B, and try to grab 3 trophies along the way. Some are easy, others will have you balancing on logs, crawling over boulders, or making sketchy jumps. There's no time limit, so you can take it slow or push for style. Then you got free roam for relaxed exploring. You have racing mode for time trials. You even have endless mode, where the tracks keep generating forever. And let's not forget the winter mode for snow-covered challenges. Each one feels different and the game keeps getting new free updates. There are over 10 different 4x4s, each with unique handling, suspension setups and engine sounds, plus customization for both car and driver. It's simple looking but super addictive, especially if you just want to play with the off-road physics without committing to huge missions like in SnowRunner. The game is available on Steam right now. Finally, the last game on the list. An older title again, but Motor M4X is a open world off-road driving game where you can go anywhere, take missions and explore at your own pace. You're behind a wheel of a proper 4x4 and your only real goal is to get to the destination. How you get there is completely up to you. If you want to blast across the open fields, crawl over the rocky cliffs, or cut straight through the swamp, go for it. You get 10 different off-road vehicles to play with, each feeling unique thanks to realistic physics, axle locking, and a full 4-wheel drive control. There's even a simulated GPS system to help you plan your crazy routes. There are 4 main event types: race, which is lap-based sprints; long run, which is basically time trial rallies; Pathfinder, a mode where you have to find your own route to finish; and trial, which is extreme driving challenges. The Pathfinder and the trial modes are where the game really shines. No set track, just brutal terrain and you figuring out how to conquer it. The locations are gorgeous for their time. Rainy alpine meadows, blazing hot deserts, and frozen Alaska plains. And each one of them drives completely differently. It's an old title, but if you love open world off-road driving with freedom and challenge, Motor M4X is a hidden gem. You will be pushed to purchase an older title like that nowadays, but if you will manage to secure a copy, you will not be disappointed. Let's hit you up with a bonus game as well. Lost Host is one of those games that sounds quirky but ends up being surprisingly gripping, especially if you're into RC cars. In this game you play as a little toy car whose owner, a young boy, mysteriously disappears one night. Instead of just sitting around, this tiny RC hero decides to set out and find him. At first you're maneuvering around the boy's bedroom, solving clever physics-based puzzles to escape the house, but once you get outside, the world opens up. The streets, the parks, alleys, all seen from the small, vulnerable perspective of an RC car. And like any good RC challenge, the terrain and obstacles are everything. Big drops, fire hazards, water, and enemies like dogs, robotic vacuum cleaners, and even rival toys can wreck you if you're not careful. The physics are great, letting you push, move, and use objects in a creative way to clear the path. For RC fans, it's basically a dream. Part puzzle adventure, part obstacle course, part heartfelt mystery, and with the emotional hook of searching for your missing owner. It's got way more depth than just driving around. If you ever loved RC cars, this is like your childhood brought to life as a story-driven adventure. This cute little game is set to release sometime in 2026. So there you have it, 15 games SnowRunner players shouldn't miss. From the icy survival of IceBound to the chaotic deliveries of Deliver at All Costs to meditative, slow climbs of pure rock crawling, there's something here for every off-road addict. I want to know, which one of these have you played and which ones are you planning to play? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoy this list, give it a like, subscribe for more off-road content, and be sure to check out my other video about upcoming games for SnowRunner players. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully not stuck in a swamp somewhere.